Let's start with the first question here. Are these folks going to actually show up and answer questions?
Well, they have a responsibility to Congress, and if they don't show up, then we can hold them in contempt. The Democrats did that to Republicans quite often, but at the end of the day, we mean business about this. We're serious. Chairman Comer has thrown down the gauntlet. They're out of frustration for this information not being released and a lack of a response to this horrific scandal that's occurred. And so I think that the American people should take note that we're subpoenaing not only Republican members, but Democratic members. This is bipartisan. We just want to get to the truth.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a moment. I want to focus in on the names that were released. There are some high-profile subpoenas in here, or high-profile individuals, subpoenas issued for them. Bill and Hillary Clinton, a former president, former presidential candidate, former senator, former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. And considering that no president has ever testified in history, or at least in front of the Oversight Committee, how likely is it that President Clinton sits in for a deposition? Also, sidebar, why Hillary?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Bill, it's pretty obvious. He had multiple interactions. He flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, the Lolita Express, I believe it's called, more than 20 times. He was at Jeffrey Epstein's island, reportedly, more than 20 plus times. So he clearly had a very close relationship, and more so than most people. When it comes to Hillary, she was in a position that could have influenced the Department of Justice and their investigation during the time in which they were investigating Epstein. And so we want to get answers from her about her involvement in that.
What else do you hope to learn from this case? I mean, clearly, there's still a lot of questions surrounding the matter. Again, how this individual was able to come in contact with just so many well-known politicians or world leaders. And then, of course, the allegations that he'd faced against causing harm to young women. But what do you think these folks would be able to answer?
Hopefully they can. Well, for some of them, we want answers on why the prosecution failed. You have an individual who molested hundreds, if not thousands, of young women, and was probably working with some other people to do so. And how in God's name did he not face justice more immediately? How in the world did he get such, basically a slap on the wrist? And so I think that we want answers in that regard. And that's why we're pulling in Republican attorney generals that we feel failed, and also Democratic attorney generals during that process. So we want to get answers as to what exactly was the failure point. And then when it comes to Bill Barr, look, I know they released the footage, but them releasing the footage from the prison cell has only caused an explosion of more questions, and people asking more questions about the lapse in time or the angles of the camera that happened to not be showing the stairwell where people could access Epstein. So it's only caused more questions. And we want answers from William Barr about how the extent of the investigation into his death.
All right.